Hi, and welcome back to the Red Zone Warriors Fantasy Football Show. Today is Tuesday, November 18th. I am Rob the Commish Smith, here as always with my partner in crime, Jay Cushman Corsel, in the Red Zone satellite studios of Denver, Colorado and Grand Rapids, Michigan, to give you the very best fantasy football information around. Well, Cushman, both our teams, the Broncos, the Lions, we both lost this past week. My Broncos to the Rams, a team that was 3-6, and your team, the Lions, lost to a good Cardinals team, no doubt, but one who started Drew Stanton at quarterback.
Yeah, well, they also lost to the referees, Rob. Few terrible, terrible calls. So I'd like to give a big fuck you to the referee in that game and say thanks for just giving it away. I mean, not that we played good. Our offense was awful. But, yeah, a couple of pretty key calls. You know, like a 50-yard punt return called back for some bullshit. That, yeah. Anyway, continue.
You sound like as disgruntled a fan as I am.
Yeah, it's
all
pretty
right.
Fucking bullshit.
Well, tweet us all your fantasy football questions at Red Zone Warriors. All right, Jay, why don't you get us started with the latest news and notes? I know we have a lot of injuries that happened this past week, so what do we need to know about?
The first thing you need to know about is the fact that, one, Adrian Peterson is suspended. Yes, the child beater. The unashamed, apparently, child beater who's, you know, I could give you the benefit of the doubt here, AP, but, you know, you came out and said that you wouldn't stop, quote, whooping your son. You didn't go to the hearing that you were supposed to go to, and you won't assist the NFL in their investigation. So one can only conclude that you don't want to play football right now. That's the only thing we can conclude on this. So he will be suspended. He's got 3 days to appeal. He can go ahead and try and appeal, I guess, but I don't see how it's going to go in his favor because of the things that I just mentioned. So those of you with either Matt Asiata or Jerick McKinnon, you're breathing a sigh of relief right now. I know I am. Rob?
Yeah, all the years of AP being in there seemed like a stand-up guy, no issues on or off the field as far as we knew, but clearly there was, and clearly the guy's an asshole, so there's that. Kind of glad he got what he got out the rest of the
Grade A asshole.
Yeah, no pay. He was paid this entire time, by the way, for those of you who weren't following this. He's just now going to be suspended without pay, so you know he's rich regardless, doesn't matter. But at least he's not playing. That's the least that he deserves. We'll see what happens next year. I think the Vikings will probably end up cutting him. I think he'll go somewhere else, in my
Dallas.
opinion, but we'll see.
I'll put money on Dallas.
Yeah, with DeMarco there?
Jimmy Jones. Jerry Jones has a huge hard-on for AP, dude. That and AP's from Texas. It's just a big, believe me, he's already said he wants AP. He's told AP he wants him to play for the Cowboys, so I could see him going there.
I just don't know that DeMarco's, and I think DeMarco might be a better player right now than AP, frankly, with AP's age and everything factored in.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Probably be really expensive, but we'll see. All right, moving on. So Dwayne Allen says he's hopeful to play in Week 12. Well, aren't all players that are injured hopeful to play the next week? At least they should be. He does get Jacksonville next week in Week 12. He did sustain an ankle injury last week in Week 11. Of course, Kobe Fleener would be a good pickup.
Fuck you, Kobe Fleener.
He did great last week when Allen went out, like in the first series of that game versus the Patriots. So Fleener's definitely a guy to pick up moving forward. It doesn't seem like a really bad ankle sprain. He could be out maybe just 1 week, but it's unlikely at this point that he'll play this week. But keep an eye out there if you're a Dwayne Allen owner.
Yeah, another tight end, Julius Thomas, one of your guys there, Mr. Denver fanatic. He hurt his ankle. It's considered minor, and he's going to be day-to-day. He might not miss any time. Then again, he might. You got to keep yourself informed on this. Keep your eye on the old ESPN or whatever it is you look on for injury advice. But if he does stay down, if he doesn't play, Jacob Tamme could be a good 1-week play next week in place of, say, the bye-week ridden Owen Daniels.
Yeah, sure enough. I will say Julius has had a pretty torrid history of ankle issues over his career. It kept him out like the first 2 years. He had a broken ankle. He just couldn't get over it. So ankle issues and Julius Thomas do not go well together. It is supposed to be a low ankle sprain, which is, of course, better than the horrible high ankle sprain that we all talk about. But it's not looking great that he's going to play this week. But obviously, look at his practice as we get further on in the week. All right, Brandon Cooks, the rookie who was tearing it up there in New Orleans. Man, he had successful thumb surgery today, but he is going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. It's unfortunate. I mean, he's a guy. He's probably done for the fantasy season. There's some timetable to where he could potentially return in Week 16 versus the Falcons, which is a good matchup against the pass. But the reality is he'll be coming back. You won't know what sort of situation he's in, and his I don't know. It's just a deal. You should probably just go ahead and cut ties with the guy. It's unfortunate, but he's got a great career ahead of him. Pierre Thomas is coming back also. He's going to benefit from some of those targets that Cooks was getting, and also Kenny Stills might be the best wide receiver to pick up this week. Is going to benefit the most in regards to Brandon Cooks. Is probably anywhere from 4 to 6 catches a week and stretches the field. So good pickup there for Stills.
Yeah, that's definitely something to keep an eye on there. I'll be watching it closely, especially the Pierre Thomas portion of it. Monty Ball.
What could have been? What could have been?
Dude, I drafted this guy in the 3rd round and thought I was getting a steal. I was like, holy shit. I've got Matt Forte, Des Bryant, and Monty Ball winning this league like nothing. And then Monty Ball. Dude, what the fuck is wrong with your groin? Look, stop spanking the monkey. Okay?
Look, I saw his girlfriend when we were out at the Broncos draft party. There's no reason for that. There's no need for that, bro. Trust me on that.
Yeah, well, people have the ways they take care of their needs, Rob. Sometimes Daddy knows best. So look, he's gonna miss 2 to 3 weeks. Ronnie Hillman's out for another month or so. So C.J. Anderson. Hey, look at that. C.J. Anderson. Maybe a little Juwan Thompson. And what's this, Capri?
Capri Bibbs. Sounds like a set of overalls you buy at Walmart.
That people wore in the 90s? Maybe. Capri Bibbs. His mom was a very big fan of that outfit, apparently. Wow.
Yeah.
Capri Bibbs. Nice.
When both your first name and your last name remind you of some sort of something you'd wear on your lower extremities, that's kind of odd. That's the first.
Exactly. I mean, the only thing I can think of is like, are they just bibs that are like cut off, a little below the knees? Bib over? Anyway, welcome to the Red Zone Warriors Capri Bib Show, where we talk about 90s fashion and the lack thereof. So, yeah, look, I have officially dropped Monty Ball, and I suggest many other people do the same because why not?
All right, well, unfortunately, Ahmad Bradshaw has fractured his fibula. Yes, it was too good to be true that Ahmad Bradshaw could actually last the entire NFL season. The guy was getting it done. He was the best running back in Indianapolis. Granted, it's not much competition against Trent Richardson, but he was getting it done on the ground, through the air. He was doing it all. He was a touchdown machine. It was good while it lasted. Ahmad, my friend, my brother, but he's out. He's done. Chuck Pagano announced this past Monday that he did fracture his lower leg in Sunday's loss to the Patriots, thus ending his 2014 fantasy season. So, Trent Richardson, up to the mic here, buddy. He's going to continue to see in the brunt of the work of the backfield here in this one. Dan Herron. Yes, I said Dan Herron. The third-string guy there is now going to back up Trent Richardson. So clearly, if you're backing up Trent Richardson the last couple of years, you're going to see some work, people. That's just what's going to happen. He's a guy to pick up in deeper leagues. So when Trent continues to get his 2.7 yards a carry, Dan may see some time. But in all reality, folks, Trent Richardson, just because the way the fantasy running back landscape is nowadays, the workload he's going to get, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's on a powerful offense. He's in all likelihood going to be a top 12 PPR running back moving forward for the rest of season. That's just the way she goes nowadays. Again, so if you have Trent, you're actually smiling for once this season. If you don't, he's on your waivers. He's actually probably worth a pickup, especially to just kind of help out your team with running back depth. And he's actually going to be a starter as an RB2 flex position moving forward.
Yeah, Trent freaking Richardson. Guy keeps getting chance after chance here. We'll see if he can do anything with this. I personally am. I feel two ways about the Ahmad Bradshaw injury, to be honest with you. I look at it like I got a lot more time out of him than I thought I would. I mean, the guy's got a history of injuries with his feet and ankle area. The fractured fibula. I mean, I saw the play it happened. I saw when the tackle happened, he was in this big bunch of people, and he kind of got twisted around a lot. I saw his leg was stuck between a couple linemen. I was like, that looked like it hurt, and then he limped off, and then he was done. And I was like, oh, shit. So, yeah, if you got faith in Trent, go ahead. I don't know. I just don't have the faith in the guy. Guy I do have faith in, though, Mr. Reggie Bush, says he expects to play in Week 12. Come on back, Reggie. We can use you. We need some offense, please. Good God, please. And they're in New England this week. He's only played 2 of the last 4 games. If you got Theo Riddick and you're a Bush owner, you might want to hang on to him because you never know. I mean, Reggie come in, get a couple good runs, and then tweak an ankle and be out for another 2 games. So have fun with that. Like I said earlier in the season, I said in the preseason, stay away from the Lions' backfield this year because it's going to be a clusterfuck. And it has been.
Yeah, I would want nothing to do with the guy, man. I'd frankly rather trust Trent moving forward. Just less history with injury, man. It's brutal for Bush. He's more talented, clearly, but man, he just can't stay on the field. All right, so moving forward, Falcons running back Anton Smith, the guy who scores on every other carry he takes, broke his leg, was placed on IR, so he's done. He is done. Man. The loss of Smith, it actually helped shore up a little bit of this cluster F of a backfield here for the Falcons. Not that the guy got a ton of carries, but he was pretty spectacular when he touched the ball clearly. But Devonta Freeman is going to get more touches because of this, and of course Steven Jackson and backup Jaquez Rogers. The reality here moving forward, especially for those of you in keeper leagues, dynasty leagues, is that Steven Jackson's is all but gone next year, as is Jaquez Rogers. So Devonta Freeman is going to be the guy, the RB1 moving forward next year in this offense. They'll likely draft somebody, but this guy, it's going to be his to lose moving forward. So go ahead and pick up Devonta. Anton didn't really mean a whole lot as far as carries in this backfield.
No, he didn't. It was fun to watch, and it's a bummer that he suffered that kind of injury, end of season, because he's definitely fun to watch. I don't know if Devonta Freeman's got what it takes to be a lead back. We will find out. All right, Larry Fitzgerald. He sprained his MCL. It's a grade 2 sprain. He expects to play through the pain. He is kind of a badass, and I don't see how he won't, but maybe he won't because that gotta hurt. MRI sprain or MCL sprain. The MRI results indicate it wasn't too serious. Look. His could be, a big, huge. The Lions do this with Calvin Johnson. If he gets hurt, they'll put him out there just to draw coverage, which is actually what I think this could be. So be careful playing Larry Fitzgerald until he's given a clean bill of health.
Yeah, Drew Stanton seems to focus on Brown and actually Michael Floyd for once. Michael Floyd got.
He only had 2 catches for 2 touchdowns, so that.
Yeah.
That 19 points he had that everybody. I've been reading it all over the place everywhere I go. you know, when I'm looking at fantasy sites here and there. Michael Floyd, oh, is he going to have a resurgence? Relax. It was 2 fucking catches. They caught the defense off guard early. Nobody did shit after that, so we'll see.
Yeah, but I mean, Larry's clearly having issues here with his knee. He's going to be gimpy, not as quick. This is a bump up, surely, for Floyd. He only has one way to go, but up.
I would agree. Oh, definitely.
And John Brown's probably been the most consistent guy in this offense the last few weeks outside of Larry, you know, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah. All right, Giovanni Bernard expects to be back in Week 12. Man, all these players, of course, have high expectations of themselves and what they're going to be doing, clearly. But, you know, Giovanni missed the last 3 games. You know, we'll see how this works now in this backfield. Jeremy Hill has been taking all the carries, of course, since Gio's been out. And he has been doing well with those carries. He's averaging over 5.7 yards per rush over the past 3 games. So, you know, this was a committee. It's nothing that Gio's not used to. He had this back last year and the year before with the law firm. But this could be more of a 50-50 split, with Gio being more of the pass-catching back, Hill maybe being more of the goal line back, and kind of splitting it up. I think they figured out that they worked Gio a little bit too much. So they're both going to have running back 2 flex value moving forward for sure, but we'll just kind of see how this plays out moving forward.
Yeah, you know, that's a bummer for Gio owners if they do end up RBBC, because he was definitely somebody that was putting up some points for you. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. So apparently Phillip Rivers is dealing with a rib injury. He took a pretty nice shot in the 4th quarter on Sunday, following a 13-6 win over the Raiders. Apparently tight. Antonio Gates told a group of reporters that Rivers deals with rib pain all the time. This is nothing new, which makes sense for a quarterback in the NFL because they get hit in the ribs quite a lot. So, nothing really to report here. Might downgrade him just a little bit if he's a little stiff or not able to move as well, but I think Phillip Rivers is just going to keep doing what Phillip Rivers does, which is be inconsistent anyway. So have fun guessing which weeks he's going to score points.
Yeah, he's got a history of playing through stuff like this, but if nothing else, I think this might shed a little light on why Phillip Rivers has been even more inconsistent the last 3 or 4 weeks after he started out really hot. Maybe he's dealing with this injury that's a little bit worse than people think. I'm not sure, but yeah, he's there's worse options out there at quarterback, obviously, but the last few weeks he's definitely more of a matchup play than anything else. All right, and lastly, we have a couple releases. Apparently it's Tuesday the 18th of November, the release date for the NFL teams, because Ben Tate was released by the Browns and LeGarrette Blount was released by the Steelers. This actually is probably good for fantasy. The Browns' backfield was a gigantic clusterfuck with these 3 guys, not knowing who's going to start, and everyone's starting in different positions every week just based on how they did at practice, this, that, and the other thing. So Ben Tate was one of the biggest free agent acquisitions for running backs here in the offseason, did not pan out clearly. So moving forward, it's going to be the Terrence West and Isaiah Crowell show. Crowell is definitely the most dynamic guy out of this backfield now, but it definitely helps fantasy because if you have one of these guys, they're both going to at least be worth flex, if not potentially low-end RB2 starts moving forward. So at least we have that. And as far as the Steelers go, LeGarrette, had a good yards per carry, but of course he barely ever got the ball when you have Le'Veon Bell. And if you saw him play last night against Tennessee, you know why they don't need the guy, because Le'Veon Bell's a stud. So you have Dree Archer, the rookie, behind him, and some guy named Will Johnson there was 4th string, has now been moved up to 3rd string. They're going to take up the backup roles here moving forward. So that's it for the news and notes and injuries around the NFL. We're going to proceed now to our Week 11 recap, where we talk about all the fantasy-relevant producers and lack thereof of Week 11. So, Jay, you're going to get us started here with last Thursday night game. It was the Bills and the Dolphins, if memory serves.
Yes, it absolutely was the Bills and the Dolphins won 22-9. Let's see, Kyle Orton, 22 of 39, 193 yards, no touchdowns or picks, so it wasn't really a great day for him, but not a bad day, a Kyle Orton day. Rushing, they didn't do much. Anthony Dixon had 10 carries for 35 yards. Bryce Brown, 6 for 14. Bryce Brown did add 7 catches for 57 yards for those of you in PPR leagues. That's a pretty nice day. Sammy Watkins, 3 catches for 32 yards and 1 rush for 3 yards. Not really a great day, obviously, for the Bills, who only scored 9 points. So, yeah, Rob, what do you got from Buffalo or for the Miami side of the ball there?
Yeah, this was a big division matchup here for potential playoff ramifications. So the Dolphins definitely got it done. Behind their quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, was completed 26 of 34 for 240 yards and 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. So if you had to play him, bye-week issues, or your streaming quarterbacks, he definitely did well for your fantasy team. Lamar Miller kind of came into the game a little banged up, thought he might be on limited snap count and so forth. Wasn't the case. He carried the ball 15 times for 86 yards, averaged 5.7 yards a carry. So he did well. Pretty much all the other running backs there are irrelevant. From the receiving side of the ball, man, this is Mike Wallace was targeted the most, caught 4 of 7 for 38. We had a Brian Hartline sighting. He decided to show up. Caught 3 of 4 for 55. And really, yeah, that was about as kind of a defensive game. The Miami defense is no joke, folks. So if they're out there on your waiver wire, somebody you might want to look at. All right, so we're going to move on here to the Denver Broncos. Man, I almost really don't want to talk about this game because, well, we lost. We lost to the 3-6 Rams, who are now 4-6. Their defense is finally coming together. Their defensive line is clearly one of the best in football. But that's no excuse for these Super Bowl attendees last year, the team that dominated the AFC, the Broncos with your stud offense. Granted, there were some injuries, but to lose 22-7 to the Rams, come on, man. Wow, it's brutal. Peyton Manning, not your best day, my friend. Only completed 34 of 54. They clearly forgot to run the ball. 389 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. C.J. Anderson, as we mentioned, is the guy here, but he only carried the ball 9 times for 29 yards. It is, again, it's a tough rush defense, but they did not run the ball as much as they should have, considering this game was up for grabs till the very, very end. On the receiving side of the ball, we had 10 receivers, pass catchers, targeted 10 times. Jacob Tamme, C.J. Anderson, and, of course, Demaryius Thomas. Demaryius Thomas caught 7 of those 10 for 103 yards. He still got it done for you. Emmanuel Sanders caught 5 of 8 for 102 and a touchdown before he got his bell rung, and I mean bell rung. He is going through the NFL protocol here for concussions. We'll see his standings as he's practicing, so forth, moving on throughout the week. Jacob Tamme, again, he's a good bye week fill-in here. A couple teams on bye. If Julius Thomas, who hurt his ankle in this one, is out, because Tamme was targeted 10 times, only caught 4 of them for 31. But if he's able to practice all week with the first-team starters, knowing that Julius is out, he's a guy that Peyton Manning played with in Indianapolis, has a rapport with, and is definitely going to get quite a bit of targets here moving forward. And that's it for the Denver side of the ball.
All right, well, the winning team here, St. Louis, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this one. I kind of like Denver. So, Sean Hill, the Lions, should never let him go. Should never let him go. 20-29, 220 yards and a touchdown. Not bad, not bad. Trey Mason, 29 carries. 29 carries, 113 yards. Added 1 catch for 1 yard to that. Not great there. Benny Cunningham's obviously the receiving back here, 4 catches for 31 yards. Kenny Britt, go to hell, Kenny Britt.
Hate you, Kenny Britt.
I hate you. 4 catches for 128 yards and a touchdown on 7 targets. Fuck you, Kenny Britt. Bastard. Really, that's not much more to talk about on the St. Louis side of the ball there. As most of the scoring came from field goals. lots and lots of field goals. So if you had the St. Louis kicker this week, who's that? Zerline?
Greggy, Mr. Greggy.
Mr. Greg? Greggy Z? Yeah, he had a great week. And Kenny Britt had that nice 63-yard touchdown pass, but other than that, just a lucky day for St. Louis. I think their defense actually is what came through for them with those 2 picks.
Indeed, they did. All right, so we're going to move on, Jay, to your Lions, and I will get this started because I know you probably need to take a moment to compose yourself. Sadly, the Lions lost in this one. It was a big battle here between the first-place Cardinals and the Lions. Both have aspirations, of course, to winning their conferences, going to the Super Bowl, and that's still alive. I will take the Cardinals here. So Drew Stanton, of course, got his start. Wasn't his first start of the season because Palmer missed some games early on with the case of the old man shoulder. But now he's got a case of the old man knee, so he's out for the season. Drew Stanton comes in, former third stringer for the Lions. Completed 21 of 32 for 306 yards, so he did do a pretty good yardage-wise.
Traitorous little wretch.
He also threw 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions that you would assume he would, as kind of getting to start playing a very good defense. But he had a pretty good day, actually, all in all, if you were to happen to have to play him for some reason, or maybe 2-quarterback league. Andre Ellington, didn't expect him to run very well in a yards per carry, and he did not. He did carry 19 times, but for only 42 yards, which was only 2.2 yards a carry against the vaunted front of the Lions there. Outside of that, receiving-wise, John Brown, I'm telling you, this guy was targeted the most, ×2, targeted 9 times, caught 5 for 69. He is a favorite of Drew Stanton. As Cushman mentioned, Michael Floyd caught 2 of his 5 targets, and they were both happened to be for touchdowns. So there's a little life blown into Michael Floyd. We'll see what happens moving forward. And again, Larry Fitzgerald just caught 2 of 4 for 33. He does have that grade 2 MCL sprain, as we mentioned. He's going to try to play through it and gut it out, but he's not quick anymore as it is. He's more of a precise route runner, and if he's slowed down a half a step by his knee, I'm not sure how well he's going to do moving forward, so you want to take that into account when thinking about playing him.
What the fuck is going on? That's all I want to know. I mean, yeah, the defense, you know what? The defense did its job. These guys scored 2 quick touchdowns early, caught them off guard a little bit, I think. I don't think they expected Stanton to go down the field like that as much as they did. And sure, but they shut him down the rest of the game. I mean, Ellington, who's a good running back, 19 carries, 42 yards, you know, but what the fuck is going on with Matthew Stafford? You know, 18 of 30, 183 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. You know, I mean, Joique Bell had a decent game, 14 carries for 85 yards. If they could have ever gotten near the end zone, he might have scored a touchdown. But, yeah, just, you know, Calvin, 559 on 12 targets. That's a bad showing. But I'll tell you what, they were covering him pretty good. I mean, they do have good corners there, so kind of expected that a little bit, but I didn't expect it to be that bad. So Eric Ebron did come back. He had 4 catches for 22 yards, caught all 4 of his targets. That's good. Theo Riddick, 3 catches for 24 yards, a couple rushes. So all in all, you know, just a slow day. Slow day.
Yeah, just one of those weeks, man. I feel your pain. All right, well, this isn't going to make you, well, I guess one team had to lose, make you feel much better, but they're in the NFC North. The Vikings and the Bears came head-to-head. The Bears, probably as expected, on some level at least, ended up being victorious in this one to the tune of 21-13. Yeah, so Jay Cutler had a good day for fantasy here, 31 of 43 attempts for 330 yards, 3 touchdowns and 2 picks, because, of course, he has to throw a couple picks. It wouldn't be Jay Cutler otherwise. It's really more about the receivers than Cutler. He just kind of threw it up there, and those guys went after it and got it. That's kind of part of having Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey on your team. Matt Forte, man, 26 carries, really getting it done on the ground, for 117 yards. Didn't get in the end zone in this game, but he still did well for you in PPR and even standard for that matter. Caught 6 balls for 58 on top of his 117 yards. So the guy's a beast. Gets it done every week. Alshon Jeffrey was targeted a whopping 17 times. Brandon Marshall was targeted 10. Alshon, 17. He caught 11 of those 17 for $135 and 1 touchdown. Brandon Marshall caught 7 of his 10 for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. So any part of this passing game outside of Martellus Bennett, who continues to fall off the grid as he does on an annual basis, starts off hot, and the Black Unicorn, self-proclaimed that is, falls off as the season continues, and we're seeing that again play out in the 2014 season.
Yeah, well, I am glad to see, somebody in the NFC North lose. I wish it could have been the Bears, though, because I really fucking hate the Bears. But Cutler did well for me. Forte did well for me. Got me wins in a couple leagues, so I'll take it. But we're going to talk about Minnesota. Teddy Bridgewater, 18 of 28, 158 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He seems to be, pretty steady at that mediocre level. The rushing was not great. Jerick McKinnon, 8 carries for 38 yards. Andrew Sen, I'm not even going to try to say that dude's last name. Somebody you've never heard of had 1 carry for 48 yards. He was the leading rusher. McKinnon wasn't very impressive there. He did have 4 catches for 20 yards, also not very impressive. Asiata, 3 catches for 12 yards and 1 carry for 2 yards. This is not a great day offensively for these guys. I mean, they just couldn't get it going. So if you had Minnesota Vikings on your squad this week, you were probably somewhat disappointed.
Definitely disappointed. All right, so we're going to move on to the Texans and the Browns. Man, the Browns would have had to have been the favorite coming into this just because their record and so forth, but they ended up getting beat pretty bad to the tune of 23-7 Texans. So we're going to start on that side of the ball, and Ryan Mallett comes in, getting the start, 20 of 30 attempts for 211 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. So playing the Bears against Ryan Mallett here looked to be a really good start. Ended up not being great, just kind of being mediocre. Alfred Blue came in. Foster was again out because he's got muscle issues all over the place, growing and whatnot. 36 whopping carries for 156 yards at 4.3 yards a carry. No score in this one, but man, 156 yards. You will take that all day. You will. Jonathan Grimes, kind of came in and kind of spelled blue every once in a while, carried the ball 13 times for 54 yards. So from a receiving perspective, Andre Johnson targeted the most, as you would expect, caught 7 of 9 for 68. But man, DeAndre Hopkins only caught 4 of his 8, but did get 80 yards for his effort. So put up an average day in a PPR league for him. And tight end wise, Garrett Graham caught all 2 of his targets for a whopping 33 yards. Kind of, I just want to stay away from this tight end offense. And that's it for the Texans side of the ball.
Dude, you really, that's it for the Texans side of the ball? You're forgetting about the man, the myth, the legend, J.J. fucking Watt, with his 2nd touchdown catch of the year. And it was a beauty.
It really was. I didn't realize this. He was a former tight end, and when you saw him catch that over-the-shoulder pass and get his hip down right before he goes out of bounds like he's Brandon Marshall or something, that was impressive.
Dude, I saw that. I was like, damn, dude. No wonder they're you. I mean, what an athlete. That's all I got to say. The guy's an amazing athlete. I just hope they don't start HGH testing anytime soon for the Texans because he's a big boy. I'm just saying. All right, Cleveland. Measly 7 points. Brian Hoyer, 20 of... Now, you're looking at it, so I can't ask you to guess. 20 of 50. 50 fucking passing attempts, dude. For 330 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. But 20 of 50, man, that's not even 50%. That's bad. That's bad. All right, Isaiah Crowell had 14 carries for 61 yards. He added 2 catches for 30 yards. Terrence West, man. So it's really looking like Crowell's going to be the guy to have down here. You know, obviously with the release of Tate. Man, ouch. Hawkins had 6 catches for 97 yards. That's 6 catches on 13 targets, mind you. He did catch a touchdown. And Tyler Gabriel, 5 catches for 92 yards on 13 targets also. Well, it's no wonder Hoyer has to throw the ball 50 times because his receivers can only catch half of what's thrown at them, apparently. So that's all I got for Cleveland.
Yeah, I guess the one upside of throwing it 50 times is the fact that Josh Gordon's coming back this week, baby. Woo!
Yes.
Yeah, against the lowly Falcons, no less. So I tell you what, though, Cleveland, you know, they shed some dead weight here with Tate. Going to get the running back game a little bit more trimmed down and in order. Andrew Hawkins is you know, going to be in his second or third game back from his injury. He's actually pretty decent. Jordan Cameron will be coming back. Josh Gordon coming back. This offense I think is going to continue to flourish here moving forward, and hopefully next week with Josh Gordon here. So, all right, so we're going to move on. Man, the Seahawks, they lost.
Hey, Rob, are you really excited about Josh Gordon being back?
I've got him in 90% of my leagues, so yeah, pretty thrilled.
Are you touching yourself under the table right now?
That's something for a different time.
That classified information.
It's a different type of podcast, I'd tell you that. All right, the lowly Chicken Hawks, they lost again, putting their record to 6-4, feeling the grasp of the NFC going from their fingertips because they're just not what they were last year. Clearly, the Chiefs beat them in Arrowhead, 24-20. Yes, Russell Wilson. Now he was 20 of 32 for 178 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also ran the ball, as he's been doing like crazy of late. Ran it 8 times for 71 yards. He has definitely been getting it done from a fantasy perspective. I mean, he's getting 7.1 points on the ground without even throwing the ball, so that's good. Marshawn Lynch, disgruntled as he has been of late, carried the ball 24 times for 124 yards. No scores, but you'll take that volume, of course. And, Jermaine Kearse caught 5 of his 9 targets for 54 yards. Doug Baldwin caught 6 of 9 for 45 and a score. So that was pretty much it for the what's seemingly the lowly offense for the Chicken Hawks.
Just to add one thing there, Lynch did catch 1 ball, and that's strange. Just saying. Just saying. It's a very strange thing to see Marshawn Lynch catching a football. You know, maybe he's trying to prove a point. Like, you find me $100,000, I'm gonna catch a football. They should find him $200,000 next week when he doesn't talk to the press. That's so ridiculous to me. Just sorry, had to go there. Yeah. All right, Kansas City, the winners. Alex Smith, 11 for 16, 108 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Again, you know, just he's the game manager. That's all he is, really. Jamal Charles, 20 carries. 159 yards, 2 touchdowns, baby. Woo-hoo. Gotta love it. Now Davis got in on the act with 5 carries, 10 yards. Did steal a touchdown, little bastard. All right, Travis Kelce, 3 catches for 37 yards. Jamal added a couple catches for 19 yards. Dwayne Bowe, sorry everybody that was getting excited about Dwayne Bowe after last week's big, showing with a touchdown and all that. 2 catches, 18 yards. Get used to it. That's what's going to happen with Dwayne Bowe. It just is. So, Rob, that's all I got.
So we're going to move on to a pathetic division where the now division leader is the playoff-bound Atlanta Falcons at a whopping 4-6. Wow, nice job out of you. I guess you don't decide your competition and decide what division you're in per se. But
can we just go ahead and say that everybody put their tinfoil hats on for just a quick second. Just get them real good. Okay, what team, Rob, was the focus of HBO's Hard Knocks this season?
That would be the Falcons.
That would be the Falcons. The NFL, and this is my tinfoil hat moment here, the NFL is fixing the NFC South to make sure that and it will happen, I'm calling it right now, this will happen every year from here on out. Whoever is on Hard Knocks will win their division, no matter how bad they are. Just saying. Yeah. So go ahead, you may continue. Conspiracy moment of the show is over.
Conspiracy moment for the Cushman. Yes. Well, it's brutal. Of course, first round exit. Clearly, these teams are not good. But they did win. They were there to win, and they won. They played the game, whatnot. So Matt Ryan completed 31 of 45 for 268 yards and 1 score. Man, you really got to get that second score to be fantasy worthy. He's killing me. Pretty high on him this year. Weighted on quarterback. Man, could be doing better, especially with Julio actually being healthy the entire season. Didn't see this coming. Steven Jackson didn't do what he did last week. Every time you think he's going to have a great matchup, he does not come through. And when you think he's going to be horrible, he does decent. Carried the ball 17 times for 41 yards, and that's it. That is it. Caught 2 of 3 for 6 yards, so I'm expecting more from you. Devonta Freeman carried the ball 6 times for 28 yards. That's about it out of him. So I tell you, Julio Jones, man, just low-digit touchdowns this season. I think he's had 1 touchdown this season. Didn't get one here. Caught 6 of 11 targets for 59 yards. So he is not getting it done as your wide receiver 1. And I thought if he was healthy, he would get it done. And that's just not what's happening. Part of the blame, of course, is on the offensive line. Matt Ryan does not have enough time for Julio to get down the field and make his spectacular plays. So Roddy White has been the most consistent pass catcher of this offense, continues that. Caught 8 of his team-high 12 targets for 75 yards and a score. I think the guy scored the last 2 or 3 games straight, so he's getting it done for his fantasy owners. And that's about it for the conference or division leading, I should say. Atlanta Falcons at 4-6.
That is just amazing. That's what a great thing for your division to hold up. 4-6. That's our division leader. Wow. All right. So Carolina, Cam Newton, 23 of 37, 292, 2 touchdowns, and as he is wont to do, 2 interceptions. He had 5 carries for 30 yards on the ground. D'Angelo Williams actually saw the biggest amount of carries here. 10 carries, 41 yards, no scores. Jonathan Stewart, 7 for 24. Calvin Benjamin caught 9 of 13 targets, 109 yards and a touchdown. And Philly Brown, 1 catch, 47 yards, but it was for his touchdown, so good day for him. Greg Olsen caught 5 of 11 targets for 61 yards. And from the highlights I saw, they were actually talking about this on ESPN. They were on him pretty hard. So teams are starting to figure that out. I don't know if that's going to affect Olsen too much. As long as he can get a touchdown, a game, he'll be good. Did not get one in this one, so wasn't a great day for Olsen owners, but it wasn't the worst one we've had yet either. So with that, I will send her on back to you there, Rob.
All right, so we're gonna move on here to. Wow, I mean, you wouldn't think with the Saints being in the NFC South with the Falcons that the Falcons would be winning that at 4-6. That just doesn't make any sense to me. I can't really compute that. But the Saints, who were at home and they play better at home, which they actually do, but they still lost at home to Cincinnati. They didn't just lose; they got beat 27-10. Man, they are not what they once were. For sure. Drew Brees, man, 33 of 41 attempts for 255 yards and 1 score. So not exactly killing it for you in fantasy this past week, having drafted him probably in the second, third round or so. Mark Ingram continues to get it done on the ground as far as getting the volume. Carried the ball 23 times for 67 yards, just shy of 3 yards a carry. I mean, we'll see again. Pierre Thomas coming back at some point. Kyrie Robinson. We keep saying that every week. It just hasn't happened yet. So we'll see if that eventually occurs. Colston was targeted the most, caught 4 of his 8 targets for 56 yards. Brandon Cooks, as we mentioned, broke his thumb in this one, so he caught 5 of 7 for 50 yards before he exited stage left. He's out for 4 to 6 weeks. Kenny Stills caught all 4 of his targets. He's a very efficient wide receiver. Is going to see a boost in targets moving forward with Brandon Cooks out. He did catch 4 for 32 and a touchdown, so someone to look at on the waiver wire. Jimmy Graham, pretty short day for him. Came up short, caught all 3 of his targets, but for only 29 yards. So the Cincinnati defense clearly did a good job on the pass catchers for the Saints.
Abso-freaking-lutely they did. Listen, Andy Dalton, the Red Rocket, threw 3 touchdowns, 16 to 22, 220 yards, continuing to get it done for his team. This week he actually did get it done for anybody that had the balls to play him in fantasy. Jeremy Hill, 27 carries, 152 yards. He didn't score, but that kind of volume is good to have. A.J. Green, 6 catches, 127 yards, and a touchdown. The other 2 touchdowns went to Jermaine Gresham on his only 2 targets. And Mohamed Sanu, now, like I said, now that A.J. Green is back, he's not going to be as good. 3 catches, 23 yards. So not a great day for Cincinnati's offense. Rob?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. It was also not a good day for the Redskins, coming off their bye week at home, hosting the 1-8 Buccaneers, and getting your ass beat, getting crushed, 27-20. You know what? I'm done with the Redskins, Jay. I'm done. I played them in a freaking daily league. Great matchup. Had too much faith, clearly, in RG3 and their pass catchers against this horrible Bucks defense, who was horrible against the wide. They're horrible against everybody. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, you name it, they're horrible against it. And that is not what happened. RG3, man, I don't know what to do with this guy, or what Washington's going to do with this guy. Yeah, it's not good. RG3 was 23 of 32 for 207 yards. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Not so great. Alfred Morris got 20 carries for 96 yards. Also caught 2 of 3 passes for 36 yards. Griffin did run 6 times for 41 yards, but he did not get it done, fantasy or otherwise, for the Skins or his owners in this game. Roy Halou caught all 6 of his targets for 57 yards. Deshaun caught 4 of 6 for 35. And Pierre Garçon, poor bastard, man, caught one of 2 targets for 6 yards. The guy's a great player. Most catches, most targets last season. He catches 1 of 2 for 6 freaking yards. I'm done with this offense. Alfred Morris, maybe Deshaun Jackson, the only guys worth a damn moving forward.
Halou did get the touchdown too.
I know, but ugh.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Halou actually kind of interested. If they're going to throw them the ball that many times every game, I don't know. That could be a little interesting in PPR. All right, moving on to the winning side of the ball here. Tampa Bay, McCown, 15 to 23, 288 and 2 touchdowns. Now Sims is getting all the carries here, but he's not being very impressive with them. 13 carries for 36 yards. Against an obviously bad Washington defense. Is not great. Now, Mike Evans had 7 catches on 9 targets, 209 yards, and caught both of the touchdowns. He was the big recipient of all of the yards, pretty much, from McCown, accounting for 209 of 288. So that left Vincent Jackson with 3 catches for 43 yards. And, yeah, really that's it. Not much to speak of other than that for the Buccaneers, Rob.
Yeah, whenever the Washington fan base is chanting for Colt freaking McCoy at the end of the game, you know things have gone south.
Yeah, quickly.
All right, so we're going to move on to the 49ers' defeat of the Giants 16-10. Kaepernick completed 15 of 29 for only $193 and 1 score. Frank Gore continues to get the volumes here a few weeks in a row, carried the ball 19 times for 95 yards, 5 yards a carry. The Giants' defense is horrific, which definitely helps Frank Gore in this one. Crabtree only caught 3 of his team-high 8 targets for 85 yards. He did get pretty lengthy touchdown for 48 yards. That was pretty much his entire fantasy day in one play, but you'll take it if you were unfortunate to the extent that you had to actually play Crabtree in this game. Anquan Bolden caught all 5 of his 6 targets for 53 yards. And, yeah.
All 5 of his 6 targets, huh?
All 5 of his 6. Easy for me to say.
All right. Look, the Giants, well, Eli Manning is not his brother. He's proving this over and over and over again. He was 22 of 45 for 280 yards, and a touchdown. And wait. Oh, it's the ghost of Eli Manning past 5 interceptions. 5.
Damn.
5 interceptions.
Wow.
Good God Almighty.
All
All right, well, the return of Rashad Jennings, 18 carries for 59 yards, and he had 4 catches for 8 yards. You know, it's not super impressive, but it is his first week back, so give the guy a break. He should be good going forward, as he did get the bulk of the carries and was catching passes out of the backfield. He was targeted 7 times, as a matter of fact. Ruben Randall, 7 catches, 112 yards on 15 targets. And Odell Beckham Jr., 6 catches for 93 yards on 13 targets. Larry Donnell caught a touchdown on one of his 3 targets, in which he incurred 54 yards total. Eli Manning also fumbled the ball, although they didn't lose it, so I guess it doesn't count. But he's 5 interceptions and a fumble. When do you bench the guy, Rob?
When do you bench a 2-time Super Bowl champion? I don't know, man. That's a tough call. One well above my pay grade. But yeah, you got to start at least thinking about it. All right, so we're going to move on to an AFC West matchup between the Raiders and the Chargers. And as expected, the Raiders go to 0-10. Jay, they are sniffing Lions' record of 0-16 here, and it just very well may happen.
It will.
Some company there. Wasn't a pretty game. Wasn't one you necessarily wanted to tune into with your popcorn and adult beverage. Not this game. Phillip Rivers, 22 of 34 for 193 yards, 1 touchdown. That's it for him. So again, playing the Raiders, maybe those ribs are a bit sore than was let on previously. Ryan Matthews in his debut after being out for the past couple years here with his issues that Ryan Matthews continually has. Carried the ball 16 times for 70 yards, 4.4 yards a carry, so not too bad there. Brandon Oliver did have a role here, carried 13 times for 36 yards. Keenan Allen was targeted a team-high 13 times, caught 8 for 63. There's a clip out there of Phillip Rivers and Keenan Allen yelling at each other. Not sure what that's all about, but I guess it's the fact that you barely beat.
They were discussing brownie recipes, I heard.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Extra chocolate.
Yeah.
Malcolm Floyd caught 4 of 6 for 44, and the scorer, Antonio Gates, caught all 3 of his targets, but for a minimal 32 yards. Not so hot there. Antonio was kind of falling off. Ladarius Green, not much better, 1 for 11. So.
Yeah, it is what it is over there in San Diego. You know, like I said, Phillip Rivers seems to be a little bit inconsistent. As does rookie Derek Carr, 16 of 34, 172 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Latavius Murray, not Murphy. 4 carries, 43 yards, led the team in yards. Darren McFadden still led the team in carries, but he only had 21 yards. And Maurice Jones-Drew, 4 carries for 6 yards. I mean, it's just sad, pathetic. Kembrell Tompkins, 2 receptions for 47 yards. Michael Rivera, I guess, not Mikel. 3 catches for 40 yards. And other than that, I mean, just not anything going on for the winless Raiders at all whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. If any of them are on your fantasy team, I feel really sorry for you. So, Rob?
Not looking good. All right, so going from that cluster F of a game over to a decent game. The Packers and the Eagles. Well, it was decent if you're a cheesehead because the Packers put a shellacking on the Eagles. What's that, Chip Kelly? You got your ass beat. So, wow, 53-20. The entire Packer starting offense pretty much sits out the fourth quarter, like 3 weeks in a row. That means the Packers are winning. That's what that means. Aaron Rodgers, best quarterback in football, best quarterback in fantasy, completed 22 of 36. Because you only have to throw it 36 attempts when you don't play the entire fourth quarter. That's kind of how that works out. Still threw for 341 yards and 3 touchdowns. And what, Eli? No picks? What? Hello, Eli. Yeah, no picks. Matt Flynn's getting some work. Eddie Lacy carried the ball 10 times, but got 69 yards out of those 10 times and a rushing score.
You said 69.
It's not explicit for nothing here on iTunes. Eddie Lacy also caught 3 of 45 in a score. Man, he's getting it done. I wish he would have started this run a little sooner than he did, but he is clearly getting it done and really not on much volume either. It helps when you're on a prolific offense. And my guy, my man, Jordy, give me the ball, Nelson. Caught only 10, kind of got 4 of 10, but that's okay because when you catch 4 for 109 yards and a touchdown, we're not going to complain.
I'll take it.
We will take it. Randall Cobb was targeted the most in this one, caught 10 of 13 for $129 himself and no score. So those guys, they get it done one way or the other. Receptions or yards or touchdowns are pretty much equaling out. Good stuff there. Tight ends are a little bit engaged here. Corliss caught 2 of 2 for 35. But, man, the Green Bay is looking good.
Yeah, that's not good news for me. I don't like the sound of that at all, especially considering the Lions have to play them the last game of the season, December 28th in Lambeau. Not encouraging. So, moving over to the Philadelphia butt fumble. Good old Sanchez, 26 of 44, 346 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, sacked 3 times for 26 yards. Just Mark Sanchez is Mark Sanchez, and that's all there is to it. I don't care if Chip Kelly wants to be like, I think he's a good quarterback. No, he's not. He's just not. LaShawn McCoy, 23 carries for 88 yards. Not really all that impressive, 3.8 yards per carry. LaShawn McCoy has just been disappointing this year. He did add 1 catch for 18 yards. Jordan Matthews, 5 catches, 107 yards and a touchdown. Macklin, 9 for 93 and a touchdown. And then Zach Ertz and Riley Cooper each had 4 catches for 55 and 39 yards, respectively. And, look at that. Mark Sanchez also fumbled the ball 3 times. Lost 2 of them. Way to go, butt fumble. Way to go.
Yeah, a little reality check there for Marky Mark. All right, so we're going to go on to another game here. It's supposed to be one of the better games of the week. You have the Patriots, who are playing so well of late against the Colts. Man, but it didn't end. It was playing, you thought it would be a little bit more even because they're playing in Indianapolis. Not so much. The Colts pretty much the Patriots, I should say, routed the Colts 42-20. man, the Patriots actually play Green Bay in a couple weeks. That should be a very good game and maybe a precursor to the Super Bowl, at least at this point, power rankings and so forth. So
we got they got the Lions in New England this coming week, and I'm actually kind of sick.
Yeah, it's not going to be favored, I can tell you that. All right, well, Tom Brady, 19 of 30 for 257 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Yes, Jonas Gray. You know,
be careful here, folks.
Yeah, carried the ball 37 times for 201 yards. And 4, yes, I said 4 touchdowns. Take that, Matt Asiata. Frickin' measly 3 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns here for Jonas Gray. I will say, Cushman, I got a lot of crap on this one. I have Jonas in a standard league, a 12-man league. Had him on my bench. Picked him up a couple weeks ago. Of course, I didn't play him because you don't play Jonas Gray in a 12-man league when you have Eddie Lacy and Rashad Jennings and Fred Jackson and different guys. You just don't. But when you're a self-proclaimed podcast host, award-winning host with our family and friends, of course, yeah, got a lot of crap for not playing him, but it was the right call at the time.
Yeah, hindsight's 20/20.
It really is. You know, so that was that. Gronkowski, man, caught 4 of 5 for 71 yards in a score. And I tell you, folks, if you did not see the Gronkowski score, look it up on the internet. It was amazing. The guy catches the ball at about the 20-yard line and just decides he's going to score no matter how many defenders are in his way. And he drug and dragged and dove into the end zone with 4 defenders on him. It was very beast mode-like, very impressive. Brandon LaFell caught 3 of 4 for 62. And my man Edelman caught 5 of 8, but for only 50 yards. But they still got the job done.
Yeah, they did get the job done in Indianapolis. You know, Andrew Luck was 23 of 39, 303 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. It's not a bad day at all. You know, he added 3 carries for 15 yards. I think the big problem here was the fact that Bradshaw was hurt and Trent is just bad, but yeah. What's the tight end that went down early?
Oh, Allen.
Dwayne Allen. Yeah, I couldn't think of his name for a second there. My name isn't Cushman for no reason. So yeah, Bradshaw only ended up with 7 carries for 4 yards. And without him in the passing game, it's just a lot harder. I think he's a great check down guy for Luck. Kobe Fleener was the beneficiary rather of injuries. I think seven receptions, 144 yards, just crazy. Reggie Wayne comes back, 5 catches, 91 yards. He's definitely somebody you should have held on to, and if somebody in your league didn't hold on to him, go get him. T.Y. Hilton, 3 for 24, not a great day for him. So yeah, that's about it for Indianapolis. That was a sad day for them. Hurts them in the long run too, I think.
Yeah, it sure does. Absolutely does. All right, the last game of the week, the Monday night game, the Steelers, the Titans. The Steelers prevailed in this one, 27-24. Ben Roethlisberger, 21 of 32 for 207 yards. And no, folks, not 6 touchdowns, not 5, not 4, not 3, not 2, yet just 1 lowly touchdown and 1 interception. But that's okay because they got the win and they have Le'Veon Bell. And when Le'Veon Bell carries the ball 33 times, Le'Veon Bell gets 204 yards and a score. This was like the 4th or 5th most rushing yards in a Monday Night Football game. Number 1 on that list was Bo Jackson. So he's definitely in good company. The guy's a beast. He's going to be a top 1 or 2, probably top 3 running back in fantasy drafts next season. He gets it done on the ground and gets it done in the air as well. Caught 2 of 4 for 18. Antonio Brown does his thing, got 9 of 11 targets for 91 yards and a score. So those of you needing a Monday night miracle for fantasy and had Antonio Brown, don't even, yeah.
Sorry.
You don't even sweat it. You don't even sweat it. The guy's going to get 25.
It's not a miracle when you know it's going to happen.
Yeah, he's going to get 25 if he gets 1. That's just what's going to happen for Antonio Brown. Heath Miller caught all 5 of his targets for 71. That was pretty good to see out of the old man, Heath Miller. Artavius Bryant, the big guy, a lot of hype on him coming into this game. Last couple weeks, just caught 2 of 5 for 11 yards. They did go for him in the red zone, a couple deep looks, just didn't connect for the Steelers.
Yeah, not great. But they did pull out the win. So, Tennessee, good old Mettenberger. It was the battle of the burgers.
It was.
Roethlisberger and Mettenberger. So he had 15 of 24, 263 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Bishop Sankey, actually, he's kind of fun to watch run, but his team is so bad. He doesn't get a lot of chances, I don't think, quality chances anyway. 11 carries, 38 yards, and a touchdown. Nate Washington, 1 catch for 80 yards. He was the leading receiver on the team, had an 80-yard touchdown catch on 2 targets. Kendall Wright, 4 catches for 70 yards this week. Justin Hunter, 2 for 48. Sankey added 1 for 7. So other than that, not much to talk about on the Tennessee side of the ball. Obviously, just a disappointing loss for them. They're 2-8. Not a great season for them. So anyway, we're gonna move on. We're done recapping crap. It's over. It's done with. We're going to move on and tell you guys who to pick up on the waiver wire this week. And we're going to start with quarterbacks, and we're going to start with Kyle Orton. If he's still on your waivers somehow, some way, he's a good option. For Cam Newton and Ben Roethlisberger owners this week, he has an attractive home matchup against the Jets, who he torched for 4 touchdowns on only 17 passing attempts in Week 8. The Jets have given up 25 touchdown passes in 10 games, and they've only intercepted 3 passes all season, so Orton doesn't have another easy matchup for the rest of the season, but this week, pretty nice looking. So, you might want to grab him.
Yeah, man, Cushman and I might be playing him on our FFPC playoff week this week. It is a very good matchup, and when you have RG3, Matt Ryan, you can't overlook a matchup even if Kyle Orton is the one who has it. All right, so another good matchup this week, another good quarterback to look at is Buccaneers quarterback Josh McCown. Since reclaiming his starting job from Mike Glennon, McCown has thrown for 589 yards and 4 touchdowns and 2 picks in 2 games. It's not too shabby. McCown, it's somewhat of a revenge game actually in this one. He's going back to Chicago, the team who let him go so that they could throw all their money at Jay Cutler, which they may or may not regret moving forward. We'll see. But it's a very good matchup, of course. The Bears are horrible against pretty much everything from an offensive standpoint, so there's much worse options out there than Josh McCown this week.
Absolutely, there are worse options. Now, another guy you might want to look at, Brian Hoyer. Browns. He's got a favorable matchup this week against the Falcons because they're just bad, kind of like the Bears are all around. Their defense is bad. But the most significant part of this is the fact that Josh Gordon is back this week, which gives Hoyer the playmaker he's been looking for. Down the field threat, possession. Gordon can do it all. He's a Calvin Johnson-esque talent. So if you're looking for a bye week fill-in, or you've got guys on your team that just you're not real thrilled with, Brian Hoyer might be somebody to take a peek at. Rob?
All right, so we're going to move on to running backs, and we're going to talk about the Gray factor. Mr. Jonas Gray, mentioned him, the Patriots running back taking over for Stephen Ridley. And when you rush the ball for 38 times for 200-plus yards and 4 touchdowns, you're going to get a little interest on the waiver wire. That's just what's going to happen. But, again, folks, this is the Hooded Ones offense. You never know the game plan here, what's going to happen. You still have Shane Vereen there. So he's still a risky play, even coming off of that sort of production. But again, his name is Jonas Gray, and you've never heard of him, and that's for a reason. So just if you need some depth, you have a spot, pick him up, that's fine. He's worth a pickup. but just be cautious. This isn't Adrian Peterson here, and I don't know reports of Jonas Gray beating his 4-year-old boy either, so there's that. But again, they've got the Lions this week, so the chances are Belichick is probably not going to run the ball 38 times against the Lions. They're going to try to pass the ball. Shane Vereen, it's a much better play for him this week, so just think of that. And moving forward, past the Lions, they do have the Packers and the Chargers.
Yeah, I agree with you there. This may be one of those guys. How was it? Doug Martin put up 63 points a couple years ago. That's where he got all his big fame from, really. It was a 63-point game. Other than that, he's never really done much. Could be the same thing here with Gray. Moving on, Rams running back Trey Mason. He's going to be a hot commodity this week on the heels of a 29 for 113-yard rushing day against the Bronx. He averaged 20.7 carries over his last 3 games. And after 4 consecutive games against good run defenses, he now gets a relative breather against San Diego and Oakland, and then the Redskins after that. So Trey Mason's definitely somebody, he's not on the waivers in any of my leagues, but he's somebody, if you can get him, go get him.
Yeah, he's definitely the guy to have there in the Rams backfield. Finally, we know who that guy is, and it is clearly Trey Mason. All right, Alfred Blue, again, just real quickly, for those of you who have not picked him up, if he's even still out there, he's probably not going to be after this week. If you're an Arian Foster owner, you have to have this guy. He just killed the Browns to the tune of 156 yards on 36 carries. So if Foster's out, Blue's going to come in and get the job done, and with all the muscular issues with Foster, you just have to have this guy, so definitely go get him. They've got the Cincinnati Titans and Jaguars coming up.
Yeah, definitely. I grabbed him just on that chance and played him, and he did pretty good, so I'm happy with that. Raiders running back Latavius Murray. Murray is on the verge of getting an audition for a featured role. Is that a possibility? Who knows? He had 4 carries for 43 yards against the Chargers on Sunday and caught 3 passes for 16 yards. But really, at this point, it only makes sense for the Raiders to give Murray a chance, see what he can do, because they suck and their season is over. I mean, didn't it just come out that they are officially eliminated from playoff contention? Not that anybody thought that they had a chance of making the playoffs anyway. So, but Chiefs, Rams, 49ers are what they got coming up next. So not really a great matchup in any 3 of those games for Murray, but hey, you're desperate, you never know. Rob?
All right, the last running back of the day is Juwan Thompson from the Broncos. We just feel like we have to mention this guy. Of course, C.J. Anderson is the guy moving forward, but he does need a backup. And when you have Ball, who just aggravated his growing injury, who just missed 5 games because of it. He's going to miss multiple games moving forward because of it. Ronnie Hillman is now expected to miss at least another month with his foot injury. So C.J. Anderson's the guy, but somebody has to back him up, and Juwan Thompson will likely be that guy. So more of a guy for deeper leagues or a handcuff to C.J. Anderson as going into the playoffs. And that's it for the running backs. Jay, we're going to move on to the wide receivers. And, there's a Saints guy you want to talk about.
Yeah, Kenny Stills. Look, Brandon Cooks is gone 4 to 6 weeks due to a broken thumb that he had surgery on. Stills went 4 for 32 and a touchdown last week and has 2 touchdowns over his last 5 games. And he's actually the number 27 wide receiver in that 5-game span. They've got the Ravens, Steelers, and Panthers up next. So Kenny Stills, if you're looking for wide receiver depth, or somebody that might actually be able to help you win right now, Kenny Stills is somebody you can go ahead and jump on.
All right, and as I mentioned before, another good wide receiver to pick up is John Brown from the Cardinals there. He just caught 5 of 69 in Sunday's game against the Lions. A very good defense there on 9 targets. Drew Stanton clearly focuses on this guy. All the touchdowns that he's thrown prior to last week had been to John Brown. But he's one of the most consistent guys in that offense, believe it or not. So, he's got the Seahawks coming up. Not a great play, but again, if Larry Fitzgerald does play with his grade 2 MCL sprain, and you have Floyd, John Brown may be the guy that the Seahawks don't focus on. And then after that, they have the Falcons, for crying out loud. So could be worse pickups there on your waiver wire.
Abso-freaking-lutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. All right, Dolphins wide receiver Javaris Landry. He's coming off of a 5-catch for 46-yard and one touchdown performance against the Bills. He hauled in 100% of his targets. He scored 2 TDs in the last 3 games that he's played in, and 3 in his last 6. He's definitely better in PPR than standard formats. He's averaging, almost 5 catches a game from week 2 on, and he's only averaging 9.5 yards per catch. So he's obviously just, more of a possession guy, somebody, they're going to check down to, but obviously they have to do that a lot. They've got the Broncos, Jets, and Ravens coming up. That might be a good matchup for him, as the guess would be that the Dolphins are going to have to throw the ball a lot to keep pace with the Broncos.
Yeah, and of course the Jets are horrible against wide receivers, so it could be worse options there. All right, that's it for wide receivers. Tight end front, we have, as we mentioned, Kobe Fleener, one of the best tight ends to pick up this week. Of course, Dwayne Allen, he has an ankle sprain, looking like a high ankle sprain. Of course, he hopes to play. There's different grades of ankle sprains, folks, so it's hard to say at this point, but it's probably unlikely he's going to play this coming week. I'll have to check and see his progression as we move forward, but Fleener just killed the Patriots for 144 yards on 7 catches, especially with Bradshaw now out as well. They're going to have to throw the ball to somebody, and Kobe Fleener, man, he was a college teammate and roommate of Andrew Luck. They have a connection there, so he jumps to the top of the tight end waiver wire list this week.
Yeah, definitely, and with the Jaguars, the Redskins coming up, he's definitely if he's the only tight end in, he's gonna be a really good play, really good play. So those of you, my buddy picked him up, and he's really gonna be happy with that, I think. Moving on, Jaguars. Speaking of the Jaguars, tight end Mercedes Lewis. He's been sidelined with a high ankle sprain for all but the first 2 games of the season. He's eligible to come off IR, and they have activated him. He's been practicing. They say he's going to play, so if he does, he could definitely have some appeal. The Colts coming up, Giants and Texans. Not terrible matchups, not great matchups, but this guy could, be somebody that they could use to bolster their passing attack in Jacksonville, which they need desperately. So he could be a good play for you. Rob, you wanted to talk about Mr. Tammy.
Yeah, the last tight end pickup of the week, have to mention him, Jacob Tammy for the Broncos. Julius Thomas, of course, sustained an ankle injury last week. They say he's day-to-day. He may or may not play this week, so keep an eye on that. But Tammy, he caught 4 for 31, but he did get 10 targets. So, again, if he's able to practice with the starting team all week and get into the game with Julius out, Peyton's going to rely on him. Emmanuel Sanders might not even play, which would make him even a better target. So definitely keep an eye out for that. All right, Jay, so we're going to move on to the Who Do I Start segment of the show. And what do you have for us to start off with?
All right, well, the first Who Do I Start question is going to be about running backs here. And we've got Alfred Morris at San Francisco or Trent Richardson, the newly crowned RB1 in the backfield of Indianapolis, with Bradshaw going down against the lowly Jacksonville. Now, San Francisco has been 4th versus running backs over the past 4 weeks, and Jacksonville's 30th over the past 4 weeks. So if you had to pick between these two guys, who are you going to go with?
Yeah, and just so the listeners know, we looked at this information from a points allowed perspective just over the past 4 weeks. This is very recent data. So, given that San Fran's the 4th hardest against the run, and man, the Redskins offense is looking so bad, I'm going to surprisingly, I think, go with Trent Richardson here, going against the 30th easiest against the run points allowed perspective in Jacksonville. He's going to be the only show in town with Ahmad Bradshaw out. He can also catch the ball out of the backfield. So, especially in a PPR league, I would actually go Trent Richardson in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. Just because, if Bradshaw was still healthy, I might actually lean more Morris on this. But yeah, with Bradshaw out, Trent Richardson's going to be the man there, and just the volume he's going to get against that bad of a defense. Trent Richardson's the play to go with there. All right, moving on here. Wide receiver question. Keenan Allen against St. Louis in St. Louis versus St. Louis, or Eric Decker at Buffalo. Now, St. Louis is 29th against wide receivers, and Buffalo is 12th against wide receivers. So, Odell Beckham Jr., or I'm sorry, Keenan Allen or Eric Decker.
Yeah, I think I'll take Keenan Allen at home here. As you mentioned, they're the 29th easiest team.
Keenan Allen's at St. Louis.
Keenan Allen is at
versus St. Louis, yeah. That means they're in St. Louis.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'm still gonna take him. I mean, Eric, how can you trust the Jets offense? First of all,
dude, Michael Vick is awesome. Come on now.
Yeah. Keenan Allen, I mean, I know he's not lived up to his year two expectations, but he's definitely still getting the volume and the targets. And when you're going against, the third easiest team points allowed for wide receivers in the Rams, I think you got to go that route.
Yeah, I'm going to actually disagree with you here just on principle. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, no, I like Eric Decker against Buffalo. It's just a gut feeling, really. I can't really back it up with any kind of statistics, but I have a feeling that Michael Vick and Eric Decker are starting to get a little more in tune, and I'm starting to see Phillip Rivers start to slide back a little bit, and I think Keenan Allen's going to go with him. And after what I saw St. Louis do to Denver and Peyton Manning, I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to shut down San Diego to some extent. So I'm going to go with Eric Decker on this one. So we'll have to revisit that next week and maybe see who was right. But we're going to move on here next to Odell Beckham Jr. in Dallas or Golden Tate at New England. And Dallas is the 13th against the wide receiver. New England's 16th against wide receiver. So, Rob, what do you got there?
Man, oh man, this is tough. Super, super tough. Odell Beckham is he's an elite player. He's really, with Victor Cruz going out and Odell Beckham is coming back from his injury he had the last few weeks. The guy, he's a stud moving forward, no question about it. I think it's hard. I think Eli's struggling as much as he is and so forth. They're away, playing Dallas, I believe you said. So I think in this one, I know Golden Tate is coming off his worst fantasy day of the season. I think he only caught 2 balls, but I think that's more of an anomaly. They're going to be playing at New England. I know that's away, but it's going to be a high-scoring game. They're going to have to throw a ton. I think Stafford's going to have a better game. So I think I would give Golden Tate the edge in this one, but it is close.
Yeah, I have to give Golden Tate the edge in this one. It's part of the contract. But I think Odell Beckham Jr. will have a decent day too. But I just think Dallas is a little bit, obviously they are by the numbers, that they're a little bit better against the pass than New England is, and I think the Lions are going to be coming out after their loss against Arizona with something to prove. And I just wanted to mention earlier when I was mistaken, versus is, yes, Keenan Allen is at home versus St. Louis. Odell Beckham Jr. is at home versus Dallas. So my bad, I was misreading that. So we're going to move on here, though. Next, C.J. Anderson at home against Miami or Josh Gordon on the road in his first game back at Atlanta. Now, Miami is 4th against the run, against running backs, and Atlanta is 4th against wide receivers. So this is as far as matchup-wise goes, this is about as even as it gets, even though these guys are 2 different positions. So, yeah, C.J. Anderson or Josh Gordon?
Yeah, they're both 4th easiest, so they both have great matchups here as far as points allowed goes. It's really tough, but but damn it all, I've been holding Josh Gordon for 11 straight weeks on most of my teams, and I'm playing him, God damn it. Just that's what's going to happen. So I don't care. C.J. Anderson, that is a great matchup for him. He's going to have a great day. and he's probably has the highest floor. But I'm going to go for the upside in this one, and I'm going to take Josh Gordon at Atlanta.
All right, yeah, I'm going to temper expectations just a little bit. A little afraid of Gordon on his first game back. You never know. You don't know that the chemistry is going to be there or anything like that. And C.J. Anderson is pretty much the only show in town in one of the most prolific offenses in the league. So I'm going to go with C.J. Anderson on this one. Again, revisiting these next week. I'm gonna write all this down. Well, it's already written down, obviously, but I'm gonna make a note. We're gonna move on here. Bishop Sankey at Philadelphia or Chris Ivory at Buffalo. Philly 10th easiest versus running backs, and Buffalo 17th hardest versus running backs. So, Rob, which one of these guys do you want, Sankey or Ivory?
Yeah, this is another good comparison here. I can see why people are struggling here. I mean, both these players are playing away from their home stadiums. Sankey definitely has the better matchup on paper. He looked pretty decent last night in what we saw him in Monday Night Football there. Chris Ivory is coming off a bye. Buffalo's a harder matchup. I think I'm going to give the veteran Chris Ivory the edge in this one, even though it is against Buffalo, a little bit tougher matchup. I think at the end of the day, he's going to get it done.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and agree with you on this one. I like Ivory here. And the Jets usually play Buffalo. It's an interstate matchup. They play each other pretty hard. They want to win really bad, and I think that Chris Ivory is going to be running the ball quite a bit and catching the ball out of the backfield a lot for Michael Vick. So moving on here to our last start-sit question, or who do I start question rather. Mohamed Sanu at Houston or Michael Crabtree at home against the lowly Redskins. Houston is the third easiest against wide receivers, and Washington is the 8th easiest against wide receivers. So Sanu or Crabtree, Rob?
Yeah, man, it comes down to the fact that I just can't trust Crabtree flat out. I just can't do it. I know it's a pretty good matchup at home against the lowly Redskins, but Sanu is just an absolute beast. He's got AJ on the other side now, healthy, taking the coverage. They have a better matchup on paper against Houston, their lowly secondary, so I'm going to have to give the edge to Sanu here.
Yeah, I got to go with Crabtree on this one against Washington. I mean, Washington's just so bad. I think that Kaepernick's going to have a good game. I think that he's going to throw 1 or 2 touchdowns to Crabtree in this game, and he's going to have a decent game. So, and with A.J. Green being back, you've seen Mohamed Sanu's targets decrease. So I just got to go with Crabtree on this one. So that's going to be it for our Who Do I Start segment this week. And that's all I got, Rob. Back to you.
All right, well, that's it for this week's show. On the next show, we'll be discussing Week 13 waiver wire grabs, along with helping you decide who to start and who to sit. In the meantime, go to RedZoneWarriors.com where you can watch all previous episodes, see our rankings, and subscribe to and rate the show via iTunes. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter and tweet us all your fantasy football questions at RedZoneWarriors. So for the Cushman, I am Rob the Commish Smith, and we will catch you next time.